Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We made it through another week of learning at home. And I don't know about you, but I'm very excited for a little break from all the work this weekend. I'm so proud of all the hard work you've been doing. I've loved seeing the awesome pictures of exit ticket work, logging in, seeing people have been on CERN and iReady. And I know you guys are working hard in your packets as well. So keep up the awesome work. I know it's hard, but I'm so proud of you. We are going to do one more lesson for the week this week, and it is a multiplying fractions by a whole number lesson. So I'm going to share my screen and we can get started. Give me 1 second. All right, so like I mentioned, we are going to do multiplying a fraction by a whole number today, something we've already learned, but a great review. So every time you see a stop sign on a slide today, I want you to pause the screen so you can see the problems, take the time to do them, and then resume the video once you have solved all the problems. So here's your 3 spiral review questions for the day. Pause and get started. And I'm going to slowly start going over them. This is a review of a problem that we solved in our last lesson of subtracting mixed numbers. I'm going to bring my board back up. Everything is moving very slow today. And we can get started. We are going to do 6 1/5 minus 2 3/5. So the first thing I need to do is look at my fractions. If I only have 1/5 here, I don't have enough to take away these 3/5. So I'm going to decompose this whole into fifths so that I can get some more fifths. So if I take one of my wholes and break it up into fifths, I'm going to have 5 wholes left. And I'm going to have a total of 6 fifths because I'm going to get 5 fifths from the whole that I broke up, and I already had 1/5. Now I'm ready to subtract my 2 3/5. 5 wholes minus 2 wholes is 3 wholes. 6/5 minus 3/5 is 3/5 for an answer of 3 3/5. Go ahead and give yourself a check if you had it. If you didn't, take a look at my work, figure out where your mistake was, and be prepared to see more of these in the future. Our second problem is one where if you didn't read carefully, you might have made a mistake in how you set it up. So it says subtract 3,946 from 6,784. So we know 6,784 is the bigger number, and that's what it wants me to subtract from or take away from. So I need to put that number first. Minus 3,946. I don't have enough in the ones place, so I have to go next door. I'm going to decompose a 10 to bring over 10 more ones. 14 minus 6 is 8. 7 minus 4 is 3. I don't have enough hundreds, so I'm going to decompose 1,000. Bring over 10 more hundreds, so I'm going to have a total of 1,700 hundreds. 17 minus 9 is 8, and 5 minus 3 is 2, for a total of 2,838. Give yourself a check if you had this one. If you didn't, go ahead through and spot your mistake. And our final problem of the spiral review is during a class trip to an apple farm, a group of students picked 2,436 apples. They packed them into 6 boxes. If each apple has the same amount, each box has the same amount of apples, how many apples are in each box? So we have a total of 2,436, and I'm splitting them up into 6 boxes. I know that splitting up is this what we use for division. So I know I'm going to divide them into 6 groups for the 6 boxes. 6 does not go into 2, it goes in 0 times. 6 goes into 24 4 times. 4 times 6 is 24. When I subtract, I get 0 left over. Bring down that 3. 6 goes into 3 0 times. 0 times 6 is 0. Subtract. Bring down. 6 goes into 36 6 times with no remainder. So if I wanted to check my work, I would do my quotient of 406 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36, carry the 3. 6 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. And 4 times 6 is 24, which is the number I started with, so I know I was correct. Give yourself a check if you had this, and take a peek for your mistake if you missed it. Remember, our goal on all of these is to get no more than 1 wrong, so you should have gotten at least 2 out of 3. It's okay if you didn't. We just want to make sure we're identifying our mistakes so that we don't make them again. I am going to go back to the PowerPoint so we can look at today's application problem. It says Mary Beth is knitting scarves that are 1 meter long. If she knits 54 centimeters of a scarf each night for 3 nights, how many scarves will she complete? And how much more does she need to complete another scarf? So as I'm reading this problem, I'm going to think about what do these numbers represent? So a scarf is 1 meter long. She does 54 centimeters a night, and she does 3 nights. So I want to figure out how much she has knit. So she's doing 54 centimeters a night for 3 nights. So that's 54 3 times. And that's going to tell me how much Mary Beth has knit. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So she's knit 132 centimeters. But the question asked us, how many scarves did she complete? And how much more does she need to make another scarf? So we know a scarf was 1 meter. So what I'm going to do is pull this into mixed units. I know there's 100 centimeters in a meter. So I'm going to be able to pull out 1 meter. That's my 100 centimeters. And then 62 centimeters is left. Looking at that, I know that Mary Beth has made 1 scarf. So she made 1 scarf. But the second part of the question asks, how much does she need to complete another scarf? So we know the scarf is 1 meter or 100 centimeters. And we know she has 62 centimeters of it complete. So if we take away that 62 centimeters, it will tell us how much she has left to do. Gonna do my decomposing, get myself set up to subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8, 9 minus 6 is 3. So she needs 38 more centimeters. I hope that you guys were able to get this problem, or at least get part of it. If you didn't, go ahead through and take a peek at my work. Think about where you made your mistakes. And as always, if any of it is still confusing you after double checking, feel free to give me a call and we can go over it at any time. We're going to jump into today's lesson, and then we will get a chance to do some independent practice and an exit ticket like always. So give me a second to go grab an eraser and we'll get started. All right. This problem, 6 times 1/6, means I need 6 1/6 and I'm going to put them together and see how much that is. So if I have 6, 1, 6, I have 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6. That 6/6, the strategy we use to get that is we take our whole number and we multiply it by our numerator, and our denominator is going to stay the same. This is going to tell us how many 6 we have, and we know it's going to stay 6 because we're not cutting it, and the pieces, the size of the pieces are not changing, they're staying 6. So I'm going to have 6/6, and I know that 6/6, where the numerator and the denominator are the same, is equal to a whole. So we would say that 6 times 1/6 equals 1 whole. That strategy is going to stay the same every time we multiply a whole number by a fraction. So let's look at 7 times 2/3. I know my denominator is going to stay thirds, and I'm going to take my whole number and multiply it by my numerator. This would be the same as me skip counting by 2/3 7 times. So 2/3, 4/3, 6/3, 8/3, 10/3, 12/3, 14/3. And I get that because 7 times 2 is 14 thirds. But this is where we have to do that little extra step, because we see that we have more in the numerator than we do in the denominator. So what I want to do is pull out as many wholes as I can. And if I know I'm working with thirds, I know that 1 whole in this case is equal to 3/3. So I can pull out 3/3, 6/3, 9/3, 12/3. If I do another one, it would be 15/3, so that's too many. So there's 2/3 left over. It's a little bit closer so you guys can see it better. So I made 1 whole, 2 holes, 3 holes, 4 holes, and 2/3. Another way some of us like to look at this, instead of pulling out each hole individually, we skip count by 3s and get as close to 14 as we can. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 would be too many. So I was able to pull out 4 holes, but that was 12, 13, 14, I needed 2 more thirds. Whatever strategy works for you is the one that I want you to use. This time we have 4 times 5/8. So I'm going to do 4 times 5, and I know my pieces are not changing, they're going to stay 8, so that's 20/8. If I skip count by 8s, I get 8, 16, so I can make 2 holes, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I have 4/8 left. So my answer here is 2 and 4/8. And for those of us in groups 1 and 2 who've been working on simplifying, we see here that I can divide the numerator and the denominator by 4 to simplify this fraction. So that's the same as 2 and 1/2. So either of those answers are acceptable answers here. If you're in group 1 or 2, I challenge you to push yourself a little bit and do that simplifying whenever you see it can be done with fractions. And our final one, 9 times 3/5. I know my denominator is going to stay the same. 9 times 3 is going to be my new numerator, and I'm going to get 27/5. I can pull out 5/5, 10/5, 15/5, 20/5, 25/5. For 5 holes, 26, 27 for 2 more 5ths. So my answer here would be 27/5, which is the same as 5 and 2/5. We've seen plenty of examples. I do want to go over one example of how this might show up in a word problem. All right, so here's our word problem to practice with. Emery wants to bake 5 cakes for a bake sale. Each cake needs 3/4 cups of sugar. How much sugar will he need? So I'm seeing that I have 5 cakes and I need to put 3/4 in each. So 3/4 is going to repeat 5 times. So I'm going to do 5 times 3 with a denominator of 4, which gives me 15/4. If I skip count by 4s, I'm going to get 4, 8, 12, 16. 16's too many, so I can make 3 wholes. That was 12/4, 13/4, 14/4, 15/4, so there are 3/4 left over. So I would say that Emery needs 3 3/4 cups of sugar. You would write a complete sentence here. I'm not going to have enough space to do that, but on your paper, I would love to see a complete sentence. You are going to get a chance to practice some more of these on your own and then show me your work in an exit ticket. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint so you can get today's independent practice problems. Here are today's independent practice problems, so everyone should pause their video and complete these with as much time as they need. Take your time, best work. And now that you have finished, here are your answers. Go through, try to find your mistakes. Again, if any of them were too challenging or you couldn't find your mistake, please give me a call so we can go over it. I want to make sure everyone's able to do all of the problems that were given. And today's exit ticket is 3 quick problems. In order to get a 5, I need to see all steps. I need to have complete sentence answers for number 3 and follow the steps exactly as they were done in the video. I can't wait to see your pictures. Make sure you're sending them over as you complete this. And again, I just want to remind you that these lessons are to be done on your time. I know that a lot of you have multiple siblings in the house and you're sharing computers. Just because I send it on Friday does not mean that it needs to be done on Friday. These are to be done at your convenience when it's convenient for your family and you have time to do your best work. So as soon as they're done, send them over so I can see it. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I will send out the newsletter with updates for next week later today. And I can't wait to see you all for a lesson again on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend.